Story 1. If I am bored, I will answer in various ways and see if they hang up. The most effective so far is, "Hey, Jim's abortion clinic and butcher shop, your mistake is your next steak. How can I help you?" Story 2. It is honestly sad. I genuinely want a scammer to call me, but all I get are automated message scam calls. If you want to scam me properly. Story 3. Depending on who it is, I make it as sexual and uncomfortable as possible in a Euro-German accent. "Oh yeah, tell me about your prices, yeah?" Story 4. I pretend to be a receptionist and transfer them to the corresponding department related to their scam. I play pre-recorded hold music for a minute or two, then answer in a different voice. After I have sufficiently wasted their time, I make a loud fart sound, hang up, and block their number. Story 5. Sometimes my ego wants me to answer it for it to be a message from the Matrix, but it has never happened. Story 6. Good luck to them. I will not answer calls from unknown numbers. If people really need to reach me, they will leave a voicemail. Story 7. Report on donotcall.gov. Though virtually all spam calls have stopped, I have one persistent scammer who calls every day. Apple should offer a subscription service where anyone who calls has to pay $10 per call. Apple gets $5 and the end user gets $5. Story 8. I answer hello and immediately press the record button. New in iOS 18.2. If they continue, I reply, "You have reached the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Medicare Fraud Department. This is Agent Benson speaking." Story 9. I do a good Hank Hill voice, so I answer, "Strickland Propane, how can I help you?" Then I get upset when they try to do their spiel. "Sir, is this call related to propane or propane accessories?" Story 10. Durka Mohammed Jihad from Team America. World Police or Tum Go Talibaj Ho, you are a scammer. Story 11. I have my phone set to permanent do not disturb. If the caller is not in my contact list, the call goes straight to voicemail. I receive about a dozen spam calls a day, all of which go to voicemail without ringing my phone. However, I end up with a bunch of 10-second silent voicemails. Story 12. Lately, if I answer, first I say I don't hear them and I talk really quietly. Then I play them Baby Shark at maximum volume. Story 13. Answer the phone, then immediately put yourself on mute. They will hang up, and typically that particular scammer will not call you again. Story 14. Oh man, I love getting scam calls. It's a lot of fun to tease them and waste their time. Sorry, could you speak up? I'm having a hard time hearing you over my coffee grinder. Has anyone ever told you that you sound just like Owen Wilson? Hang on, listen to this clip. 1 second. I hear my leopard gecko climbing out of his enclosure. I'll be right back. Guess where my hand is right now, baby? The possibilities are endless. Story 15. I used to associate with them, but the scammer payback person said in an interview that some people have been swatted by these scammers for doing so. Story 16. For the scammers who are fishing for automobile accident victims, I tell them that yes, I was in an automobile accident. I was living in my van parked by the river when somebody ran into me. Story 17. I love bothering scammers until they block my number. I call them repeatedly to waste their time. I figure I am young and have the time. If I can waste their time and save one elderly person from being scammed, it is worth it. Story 18. I answer in French. Then, if the person just repeats asking for me in English, I start swearing and grumbling in French before hanging up. It works like a charm. The number of bogus calls I receive each week has dropped significantly. Story 19. I had one scammer who kept calling day after day. I finally asked him if his mother still stuck her thumb up his anus in the morning while his father performed oral sex on him. That must have hit a sore spot from all the yelling that went on because he never called again. Story 20. Telemarketer here. The worst thing you can do is either not answer or answer and then hang up immediately. After each call, we are required to mark how the call went. Disposition. If the call results in no answer or hang up, it gets placed back in our dialer to call again at a later date and time. What to do instead? 1. Answer, hang up, and block the number. Don't just hang up and do nothing afterward. Answer, then request to be on the do not call list. A reputable company will add you to their do not call list, but not every company is reputable. Still block the number after the call just in case. Have fun with them. Claim you are the city morgue. Ask bizarre questions, make funny noises, whatever you like. Many telemarketers may not appreciate this, but it breaks the monotony of the day. Hang up, mark the call as Joker, and enjoy a good laugh. Bonus tip, say you are a law office. That will usually stop any telemarketer from calling because they do not want to risk legal action. Hopefully this helps. Got to get back to dialing. Story 21. In Europe, they are legally obligated to state the origin of the phone number. If my phone does not notify me that a call is a scam or spam, the first question I ask is where they obtained the number. If they fail to respond or trace it back to a website or service, I report them using the app. The more people report, the better the service becomes, and the phone will automatically block such calls. I use a Samsung phone, but other brands have their own services. This is a must-have feature these days. Story 22. There is an option in Android to only accept calls from your phone book, but that option is not for everyone. Personally, I like to mess with them for several minutes and waste their time. However, if you do that enough times, they tend to blacklist you from their database. Also, by taking the call, you get the option to report and block that number. Reporting it adds to Google's database of scam numbers, helps the overall community, and reduces one of their active lines. I am sure Apple has something similar in place, but I get calls from different places such as hospital appointments, dentists, and so on, so blocking unknown numbers does not suit me well. Overall, reporting the number as spam helps. Story 23. I answer in a fake accent and pretend to be confused until they hang up. It is free entertainment and they waste their own time. Story 24. The nature of my job is that I have to answer unrecognized numbers. Usually, I just hang up. Sometimes I say 397,000 miles when they ask how many miles are on my car for extended warranty calls, or that I am 187 years old if they ask my age for Medicare calls. Story 25. Mostly I do not answer. Sometimes I will answer and play dumb to see how long I can keep them on the line. Sometimes I pick up the trumpet that sits on my desk and play them a little tune. Story 26. Never answer a call from a number you do not recognize or one claiming to be from your bank. They will leave a message if they are legitimate. Story 27. Depends on what kind of mood I am in. If I am in the right mood and bored, I will keep them on as long as possible, messing with them. I once kept an information technology scammer pretending to be from the Microsoft Corporation for over an hour. I knew what the scam was. He was trying to get me to download software so he could gain access to my personal computer. Instead, I pretended to be ignorant of personal computers and kept making mistakes typing in the website. I would say, "It says website not found. Can you read off the website to me again?" Then I read the letters one by one and sometimes read it back to him but screwed it up on purpose. He was getting so frustrated with me he started yelling. Then we finally got to the point where I was supposed to read him back numbers, and I kept screwing those up. Then I told him I was entering the numbers but it was not working. So how about we start over completely and said, "What was that website again?" www.gofuckyourself.com. He finally realized I was messing with him. I told him he currently held no value to the world since he was objectively making life worse for others, and that I hoped he finds a conscience and a soul. He was not happy. Story 28. I usually answer, then put my phone down while I get on with whatever I am doing. Let them waste their own time. Story 29. I only answer calls from my contacts. If it is important, they will leave a message. If it is a scam, it is easy to tell. Story 30. Pick up the phone and say hello. If they did not ask for me directly, then activate the Russian voice translator on my Samsung phone. Story 31. When I am around friends or family, I get handed the phone on the rare occasion it is an actual human caller and not an automated system or artificial intelligence. I put them on speaker and basically tease them until they hang up in frustration. We laugh a lot by the end of it, and they have lost time they would have spent taking advantage of a vulnerable person. It is a win-win situation. They all get reported and blocked as well. Story 32. Depends on my mood and what else is going on in my day. Mostly, I hang up or do not even answer. Sometimes, I mess with them by being a frustratingly difficult customer one way or another. That is only for obvious scammers. For outbound call center representatives for legitimate companies, I just say, not interested and hang up. Story 33. Pick up and go into my best Star Trek. Darmok and Jalad on the ocean. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Temba his arms wide. Honestly, it confused the last one, and he hung up. Story 34. My dad will straight up lead them on a bit, which leads to him saying, suck my balls or go away, you no-job troublemaker. Or he will fart on the phone or try to make an extremely annoying noise. I personally just don't answer any calls I don't recognize. Story 35. I usually say my name is Big Gus Dickus or Mike Oxlone. When they find out they've been tricked, they get very angry. Often, it is Indians. They say, fuck you, buddy, fuck you. When I use the Big Gus Dickus name, one person told me, put your first name in your mouth. I'll never forget one time I told a man I was with the sheriff's department, and he said, I'm with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I laughed, and he said, you think this is a joke? Then I said, if this was a joke, I'd come over to your house and sleep with your mom while your dad watched. Then he said, I sleep with your wife. I said, that's nice, but she's not interested. By the way, how is your grandmother? I was with her last week. That man got so upset he hung up. Story 36. Step 1. I double-check that they are scammers. Step 2. Once I have confirmed it, I tell them to give me a minute while I find a very loud adult video. Step 3. Play the video at double speed and blast it. They cannot report you for sexual harassment because then they will be exposed as scammers. Story 37. Assuming you answered the phone, do not agree to anything. Hang up and block the number as spam. Story 38. If I am in the mood, I will answer. Depending on the caller's accent, I will adopt an accent. The most important thing is that if you want to keep them on the phone, you need to be coherent but sound partially senile. You should be smart enough to bank online or use a credit card but not competent enough to recognize manipulation. Story 39. Typically, I do not answer, but over the years I have done the following. Made them hold on by repeatedly saying, just 1 minute, please, I am cooking. Or I keep asking them irrelevant questions. I tell them to call me back at another number, usually the local city hall or police department number. Story 40. Hang on, I need to transfer you to the head of the household finances. Then, I held the phone up to my dog and repeatedly gave him the hand sign for speak until the caller hung up. I recently had a major medical issue that required years of treatment and hospitalization across multiple states with various specialists. As a result, my contact information was widely shared with medical solicitors and scammers who hoped I was vulnerable. My dog became very good at that trick for a while. Story 41. I do not know who you are. I do not know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I do not have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that will be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you. Liam Neeson, Taken. Story 42. I answer sometimes if I am expecting a call and do not have the number in my contacts. I like calls where they want to buy my house. I ask them where I am supposed to live if I sell my house. That usually stops them in their tracks. I can hear the confusion. Story 43. I have the filter on my incoming calls set to the maximum, so I never have to answer one. The downside is that sometimes I receive a phone call from a doctor or someone related to work that I need to pay extra attention to. Story 44. Hit ignore. I love the idea of scamming them back and wasting their time, but I have had friends who ended up having their lives completely hacked and compromised by doing that, so I am not going to tempt fate. Story 45. I have a recording of my baby nephew crying. I answered the call, played the recording on speaker, and set the phone down before going to the bathroom, as I had been holding it for too long. Story 46. Sometimes play along with them and let loose, or sometimes just let them keep talking. Most of the time, as soon as I hear the distorted line, I just hang up and block. Story 47. If it is the Microsoft help desk, I play the digital illiterate older person. It is very funny to do, and not even that easy to keep them on the line as long as possible. The record is 52 minutes, and then they gave up. They probably blacklisted me. I never got a call again. The same happens with the "Hey Dad, I have a new phone number" message on WhatsApp. They all struggle with the question, "Why were you not there at your mom's funeral?" Story 48. I pretend to be hard of hearing to waste as much time as possible. It is my civic duty to protect the elderly. Story 49. I have the setting enabled that sends every call directly to voicemail except for calls from my contacts. Story 50. I installed an application on my phone that alerts me to fraudulent calls, so I ignore them or send them straight to voicemail. Then, periodically, I go back and block those numbers. Story 51. I get the duct cleaning service calls all the time. I say, "Yes, I have ducks and they need cleaning. Do you use PetSafe products? I have 2 ducks and 6 ducklings in my pool right now. Come on by." Story 52. I always try to sell them a pizza or offer a fair trade for their duct cleaning and keep talking. I tell them all about my current deals. They usually hang up. Story 53. My mom and dad answer the phone and start speaking nonsense to the caller. The last time I heard, my dad began speaking nonsense, and the person on the other end got angry and yelled at him to go away. Never a dull moment. Story 54. It depends. On my personal phone, I just ignore them, but when they call my work number that does not belong to me, I respond in numerous ways. Story 55. One thing I've read over the years is that if someone asks you right off the bat, "Is this Mary Smith?" it is best not to say yes. Not only could that lead to an onslaught of questions, but it may also trigger more scam or telemarketer calls. If they ask that question, the best response is no. That said, I usually don't answer if I don't recognize the phone number. However, scammers have recently become skilled at using local phone numbers on caller ID, making people think they know the caller or that it's someone local. I have been dealing with several doctors' offices due to caring for an elderly father. Because these offices don't always leave messages, and it can be difficult to reach them again, I sometimes answer even if I don't recognize the number. Ideally, the best practice is not to answer at all. You can always hang up without responding to any questions. Sometimes, depending on my mood, I would play along. If someone asked, "Is this Mary Jones?" I would say, "Who wants to know?" If it was a scammer, they usually wouldn't identify themselves or would give some false excuse. Then I knew it wasn't a doctor's office, and I could mess with them. On a few occasions, I had some fun. One time I shouted, "Oh no, I have to go to the bathroom." They continued with their spiel as if I hadn't said anything, and I then shouted, "Oh my God, it's coming out now." I would scream goodbye and hang up. I remember another time when they wanted to meet me somewhere to receive payment. I told them I would meet them at the state police barracks. Then they hung up immediately. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.